beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.
What's up, family? Welcome to another edition of Talk Show Kings. Oh, I'm not king at all. Hold on, D. Joe Biden? D. Joe Biden.
Hey, still happy Heavenly Mother's Day. Always gonna be mom, and I'm just glad to be back with you fellas, man, and with the audience.
Put your hands on that, man. Listen, thing is cake. Listen, the only thing I can't do is my heart start beating and I can't do it. Hello and welcome back to a wonderful show. You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings here on TV 1061 right here in Douglasville, Georgia. We thank you so much for joining us again. We have some hot topics and we have a lot of news to share with you. But before we get started, I'm going to introduce the Kings. Well, let the Kings introduce themselves. And we're going to start right here to my right.
King Mel, sorry I missed y'all last week. I'm back, man. You know, I've had a good time with my family, but I'm glad to be out with my brothers over here, the Kings, man.
Glad to have you back.
We definitely got a lot to talk about.
Yes,
I don't even know where to begin. But
yes. And my main man, the Doc
What's
himself.
up, family? This is your boy ATL Doc. I was involved in a heated conversation right before this on our first topic. So, yeah, we're going to get this thing going, y'all. From the west side of the A, Simpson Woods apartments to Collier Heights now, but now they empty. You see it in a bunch of movies and videos and stuff now. But on the west side, born and raised, family, much love.
And I'm one of the special partners of the show. I'm King Lundy, and I'll be your host for tonight. Now, to get into this hot topic, I just want to start by saying Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, Eric Gardner, Philando Castile, George Floyd, just to name of many that has been killed by law officials, killed by police officers, an untimely death or uncertain death, and you got to ask yourself, where does it stop? Well, we thought they had put a damper on it, but it did not stop. In Atlanta, Georgia, my town that we all live in, Friday night, Rayshard Brooks at a Wendy's on University Avenue was shot and killed, tasered by APD police officers in an senseless crime. Protesters on Saturday, what started off as a friendly protest ended in a friendly, compromising position where they destroy a Wendy's on University. Now, Doc, I know you've been following the news, and I know you have too, Mel. Where does it end?
It ends with some kind of reform. It ends with laws being changed. I don't classify this one in the same as the other ones. And I'm of the minority, and I've been called everything but a child of God because of that. Eric Gardner, if you look, Eric Gardner, he was upset, and he was saying, why y'all messing with me? Why y'all messing with me? But when they grabbed him, he threw his hands up.
Right.
He threw his hands up. He was like, I can't breathe. He never fought.
Okay.
When George Floyd, when he was on the ground, he wasn't fighting. You know, when they showed the video, he wasn't doing anything to provoke any kind of violent response. This guy was drunk in the drive-thru is what I was told. Okay. I saw a video, but I don't remember it extremely clearly, to be perfectly honest. But from my memory, he and the police were fighting. He whooped the police ass after they tased him 3 times.
Right.
Yeah, he
Took
put
their
hands on
taser and took off running. The police shot him in his back 4 times. I don't agree with them shooting the man 4 times, and I hate that he died. But I just don't. I don't know. I can't classify that in there with the rest of them. I just can't, because he fought the police. He fought the police. He was in the wrong. He should have been arrested. They maybe should have called him an Uber or something like that. I hate the man died.
Right.
You know, by no stretch of imagination am I trying to say they should have killed the man. You know, and I wish that they didn't.
Yeah.
However, I can't say that this is in the same category as the other ones. I just can't put it
Now,
there.
Mel, that's Doc's opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. You all listen to this now. What's your opinion as to far as when will all this stop?
I mean, I had a discussion with my family while I was out of town.
Right.
This reform thing, man, to me, it's kind of like cleaning fish, right? When you clean a fish, you scale the fish, you gut it open, you get everything out, you get it prepared, right? So you can batter it up and eat it and everything. You won't halfway clean a fish and then try to eat it, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. It's the same thing with this whole reform bill. This systemic racism, this oppression, this everything else, this system has to be gutted completely and then remade anew. So we can have those laws, not those hidden off the book laws that people don't know about. Now, to go with what he said, I don't agree with putting this in the same category as George Floyd. I can't, because that man wasn't fighting the police. You know, this guy right here, he was drunk. Alcohol makes you do some crazy things sometimes. If you ever drank alcohol before, it turns you into beast mode sometimes. That happens.
Right.
But, I mean, I still don't think that he should have been shot in the back 3 or 4 times or whatever the case may be. And it made me question, as I said earlier before the show, before we started, I was like, if this taser made you pull out your pistol and shoot somebody, use of deadly force, right? It makes me question this. If that taser made you fear for your life, should every normal, everyday citizen fear for their life when cops pull out tasers? Because apparently, it makes a cop want to use deadly force. So maybe the fact he was just embarrassed for being whipped.
Now, let's clarify, because I want everybody to understand what he means when he says the taser. Because he's saying that when the guy who was drunk, when he pointed the taser at the cop, that's supposedly when the cop shot him.
Rashard Brooks.
When Rashard Brooks pointed the taser at the cop, that's when the cop shot him. So he was saying, just to clarify, when Mel was saying when he pointed that taser at the cop, if they felt so afraid for their life, then how can they be shooting regular people
citizens with tasers?
That taser?
Yes.
That's all.
That's exactly my point I was trying to make. Not saying that he was right for doing what he did and fighting them.
Right.
Because, I mean, hell, if you in the wrong, you in the wrong. You were already drinking, you failed the sobriety.
From my understanding, they offered the man an Uber and told, just go home or whatever.
I don't know
how true that is. But
no, that's what I heard they should have done. Now, I don't agree with Mel, and I don't agree with Doc when they're saying that it's not the same scenario as George Floyd, or it's not the scenario as an Eric Garner. We got to understand that a black man with black skin got killed in the same sense of Eric Garner and George Floyd. It's still, no matter how we cut it, no matter how we put it, a young black, 27 years old, a young black man got killed. And that's the way the American people are looking at it,
Understood.
especially the black community. They're not saying, well, okay, Eric Gardner held his hand up, he didn't fight. George Floyd laid on the ground, he didn't fight.
Facts.
But Rashard Brooks, I'm sorry, he did fight, but guess what? At the end of the day, Doc and Mel, they are still young black men, and Black Lives Matter. And that's the very reason why last night a friendly protest turned into actually friendly fire for that community over near University Avenue, because they didn't need that. They didn't want that, but guess what? This is the place of the scene of the crime, so to speak. So the black people want to take it and destroy it.
Initially, when
Right.
when the protests were happening,
Yeah,
I didn't want it to stay peaceful.
right.
At least I wanted it to get to get how riot to turn to a riot and then stop being a
So
riot.
you wanted that?
Yes, I
Right.
really did, because every time we do a peaceful protest, it's ignored.
Right.
When Colin Kaepernick did a peaceful protest, they changed the narrative, made it into be something about the flag, which it had nothing to do with the
Right,
flag.
right.
And changed it completely, and then they ostracized him from the NFL.
Right.
Martin Luther King in 53, in I Have a Dream, 53, 63,
Yeah.
and I Have a Dream speech talked about police brutality. So
Right.
in 2020, we shouldn't still be dealing with that.
Absolutely. I
Now,
agree with that.
when you say that just that a black man shouldn't have been killed,
Right.
I'm not arguing that statement by no stretch of the imagination.
Right.
My thing is, you can't, just because you black don't mean you can commit a crime.
Absolutely.
It don't mean that,
I
okay,
agree with you
I'm black,
100%.
so
Right,
I'm going to
right,
commit this crime,
right.
and when the police come,
Right.
I'm going to run, and they can't do anything.
But let me ask you this now, because I fell asleep in the drive-through at Wendy's, do I deserve to die?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
now-
not even a,
Right.
that's not a valid
Other
question.
measures should have been taken.
Okay.
Mel?
So I get where you're coming from, what you're
Yes.
saying. Listen, and that's not to negate anything that's been said thus far, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
What you call me? Oh, negate. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Come on, man. About to get live.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I said negate. I didn't say the other one. No, but listen. But no, okay, so I get what you're saying.
Right.
Where you say it's along the same lines. And you're saying basically that it's seemingly, and it looks to be this way,
That's what
that
you're
when
looking
black
at. Yeah,
people
yeah.
do something, right, we get deadly force used against us.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas, like you said, there's been a video where a white guy was beating officer and jumped in their car and took off down the street,
right.
and they didn't kill him.
Right.
But yes,
Now, see, on that-
his death is on the same scale as a black man with deadly force being applied to him when it didn't have to be.
Uh-huh.
I still disagree with him. Listen, man, during this time, right now, especially right now, how we see it
especially
right
right
now, you shouldn't probably trying to fight the police one-on-one by yourself like that.
You shouldn't be
'Cause
trying.
somebody
If
gonna
you
get sick.
wrong, you shouldn't be trying to fight the police. Period. If you right, then I get it. If he was doing nothing, if the police came to him, he was walking through the drive-through,
True.
and they was mad because he went in
Right.
the car. Something to
Right.
that effect. I get it. But
I thought you said he fell asleep in the drive.
that's what I'm saying.
He did.
That's what
Okay.
he
No,
fell asleep because he was
no,
drunk.
I'm
I'm
speaking
saying
hypothetically,
if
if he
he
was.
was walking
Yeah.
and they complained because he wasn't in a car and the police came, I get it. If he wasn't actually drunk, if there was anything to where he was in the right. Now, I don't think, even though he was in the wrong, I don't feel like he should have been killed.
Right.
No.
I don't agree with the police letting white people go.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. Now, I'm not saying shoot him and kill him. By no stretch of imagination
Right.
am I advocating for the death of anybody who is not trying to hurt people.
Right.
If you're out there trying to hurt somebody, you get shot, then it is what it is. But if you, in any kind of law enforcement, any kind of military, they teach you to shoot center mass. That's this, because it's the slowest part of the body and it's the easiest to hit.
Yeah.
So if you shooting center mass, all of your vital organs are here.
Yeah.
So even though you shooting, you're not necessarily trying to kill a person.
Right.
But it happens. Anytime there's bullets involved, you can die. I can shoot you in your hand and kill you. I mean, it's
the
not
right
a thing
order.
where I'm trying to.
Let me ask you this.
I want to get
He
some of your
shoot him-
comments after we finish.
He shoot him 4 times.
Yeah, I wanna
4
bring that
times
up.
in the back.
Yeah.
Did he try to kill him, Doc?
Yes,
Even though
if he
it
shot him
wasn't
4
cinematic,
times,
absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
yes,
So that's
I
my
agree with
point.
that.
Down.
He tried to kill him, but I tell you what, we're going to jump right back into this hot topic.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. But while we're on break, we want you to look at this interview. It's an interview at the Wendy's over on University, and a young man was in tears doing this interview. We'll be right back. You're listening and watching Talk Show Kings.
Did you notice how much swag the dude who was interviewing had? Did you know?
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom, Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom, Inc. Reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village. Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have.
We're live on University at the Wendy's with a horrific burning down happened last night. I just tell you, it's horrific of what the city is going through with everything that's going on with the pandemic. Another senseless killing right here. I'm speaking to a young man now who's very emotional about the situation because he's asking himself, and I'm asking myself, how many young black men has to die before this whole thing is brought to an end? And sir, what's your name? My name is Marquise Smith. Marquise Smith, how do you feel about what's going on in the city of Atlanta, what has been taking place these last couple of weeks with the Aubrey killing, also the George Floyd killing? What do you think about this young man and the killing that's going on now?
My first reaction is anger. And I know the facts of the case, the struggle that ensued, and the wrong that he was in. I understand that. I get it. However, I personally don't feel that the use of force, deadly force, was substantiated. I know he pulled out, they say he pulled out the weapon from him and ran away, but he was moving away. And whether he turned around as he was running or not, it was a taser. That taser wasn't going to take them, whether they were scared or not. That bullet, those 3 bullets, 4 bullets, whatever they put in his body, took his life. And I understand that officers are human too, that they have families to go home to, and they signed up for a dangerous job. But they signed up for that job. And I personally wouldn't be able to become an officer myself because I know how dangerous it is. And I just think that they say it's bigger than black and white. It is bigger than black and white. And sometimes I don't think people are consciously racial. I think sometimes it's something embedded in your mind that this person is not like me, so I don't see this person the exact same way I would someone who looks like. Don't necessarily mean that they consciously say, oh, let me kill the nigga. It don't mean that. It could be that your discretion has less empathy because you don't relate to this person. This is an other, this is, you don't know. You can look, I can see a black man in my community and know whether he's a good man or not, just by how he carries himself, his demeanor, how he approaches things, how he responds to things. He might dress a certain kind of way. His pants might be saggy. Okay, what the rest of it? Right here. Okay, because on yesterday, APD captain, Chief Erica Shields stopped. She stepped down. Yeah. Do you think that by her stepping down, it would give the APD Police Department a better avenue to hire somebody who can do the job? And do you think the racism among police officers will come to an end by her stepping down? No. Okay. I don't. I think that the problem is systemic. It's enrooted in our culture, it's in our psyche, in our worldview. And yeah, you might get somebody in there who maybe a little more conscious about this thing, but it's going to take years to change people's minds. Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you, God bless you. And there you heard it right there. Black lives do matter. They matter at a higher rate, a higher capacity than what white officers give us credit to do so. So believe you me, this is not over yet. And as you can see, the people, they're beginning to come out, they're beginning to protest all over again. Hopefully it won't be a night like it was last night, and it'll be a peaceful protest. But if not, the city of Atlanta, and I'm telling you, I'm King Lundy from TV 1061, Talk Show Kings. Join us. We're live on University.
Thank you for coming back. Thank you for staying where you are. And we got a lot of comments that we want to get to. We appreciate it, but we're going to get right back into this hot topic after Doc reads some comments for us.
Shamiki, hey, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Shamika.
Shamiki said, Shamiki, right? Robert's sister. She says, hey, Kings, hope y'all safe out there. Yeah, we doing our thing. We're trying to be safe.
Yes.
Thank everybody who's watching for watching. I see Jody, Mika, Laura, my niece, Tay-Tay.
Tay-Tay.
Everybody who's watching, thank you. Marshall and Lundy, she's watching.
Marcy.
But let me get to the comments. Shamiki, the man was intoxicated. I can't give the police a bye when the police fight and restrain white citizens all the time. Dr. Payne is understandable. I don't put Mike Brown case in the same category with Trayvon Martin, and a lot of people and family were mad at me. I feel you on that one. Shamiki also said, how did the fighting start? Because of the elevated controversy between law enforcement officers, I can't say if a police approach me intoxicated or not, I would go in defense mode. I feel you on that one. Shamika White says, I agree, it can't be in the same category. However, shooting in the back 4 times is a little overage. Yeah. They couldn't hit him in the leg if they feared for their life. When you aim at center mass, you aiming to do a lot of damage. I feel you on that one. Right. Marcelin Lundy says, Marcelin Lundy in the house. Tamara Lloyd, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Shamika, why did the chief immediately resign? She already knew what was she was about to get it.
The backlash.
Marcelin says, being a manager myself, I would have went to the car to see if he was all right first, and all the stuff law enforcement is going through right now. They just added gasoline to the fire, and law enforcement, it's going to be really hard to trust them. I feel you on that one. Shooting in the back, he meant to kill him. How is it that white man that murdered 9 people get arrested and taken to Burger King, but the black man whose crime was falling asleep in his car get shot 4 times in the back? Explain why. Shamiki, fighting the police right now can't really be looked at in a negative manner. Okay, I already read that one.
Right.
Okay, now I want to address Jacqueline Keith Jones. Shooting a man in the back 4 times. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's extremely obsessive and shouldn't have been done. By no means of the imagination am I condoning this man's death.
Right.
This man was the father of 4. So I wouldn't take that man away from his kids by no stretch of the imagination. Being drunk behind the wheel of a car to me is extremely dangerous. Whatever the situation is, he should have been removed from the car. Now, him fighting the police and all that, I don't agree with that. I just don't. If you're guilty, if you're not guilty, if you haven't done anything, then defend yourself. Defend yourself by all means. But you can't be publicly drunk behind the car to the point where you're falling asleep behind the wheel, and then, okay, you fight and you run from the police and everything's okay. I don't agree with that. I just don't. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. I'm not trying to say anything negative about anybody. Y'all know how I feel about black women. So, please, sisters, if you feel, if you feel I'm coming at you, know that I'm not. Know that I mean you no disrespect whatsoever, and I never will. But I just don't agree that that's right to be in the wrong and then fight the police.
Yeah, that's right.
I just don't think that's right.
I agree with you more.
I can agree with you on saying if you're wrong, you don't have to fight the police, especially during now. But at the same time, it just seems, and they just did it. Even I think who was it? Chris Wallace that was on the Fox News or whatever. He was saying how in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that the police are 7 times more likely to use deadly force against black people.
Right.
And then as a whole across the country, it's been like it's 2 times more likely, a black person 2 times more likely to get deadly force used against them than their white counterparts.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, that's when you heard me say earlier, listen, man, this reform thing, this just bringing a bill to the House, let me explain something to you. You saying now we're at a point where, you know what I mean, where a bill can be passed and we should do this and do that, right?
Right.
Like I said to you about that meme, it had one with Malcolm X in the casket, Martin Luther King in the casket, right? It was by any means necessary, and you had nonviolence, and both still got killed. And the only solution to those who are with the systemic racism and the oppression of black people or whatever, right? I hate even using the term black people. I even hate the term African American. But, they just want us to roll over and play dead or be their lapdog or their doormat. That's the only feasible solution for them. Then they'll be okay. But us fighting back and standing up, I mean, like, come on, man.
I agree wholeheartedly if you haven't done anything. If you're completely innocent, then my no stretch of imagination.
No, I get
and I think that the time for change is now. Back then, okay, history, okay?
Yeah.
Back in 1877 is when the compromise was done. Okay, when President Rutherford B. Haynes was put into office, right? There were 4 states that all of their electoral votes was given to him. He was Republican, right? So, but at that time, Republicans and Democrats were switched.
Right.
Okay, Republicans were pro-black, the Democrats weren't. Okay, so they did a compromise because the people were rowdy. So what they did, they pulled all the troops out of the South, all the federal troops out of the South. That's when your Jim Crow laws came into effect. That's when the Democratic, what they call them, the Democratic, I can't think of what they were called, but they basically came in with the KKK and all this stuff, and they did the voter suppression, they did the lynching, and all this started in that time period as far as, restarted. Because after the Civil War, there was 11 years where the black people were starting to be governors, mayors, were starting to get elected into offices and stuff. Well, once that compromise was done and the troops left, then the white South took it back over, and all crap broke loose. But now, right now, and we're in election term. Right now, elections are happening. Okay. We need to vote in a younger Congress. We need to get those old ideas out. We need to get them out, period. When the head of the Republicans and the head of the Democrats are on TV and they say, well, if the bill is good for the American people, but he did it, so I'm not going to vote for it. And then you say the same thing. Both biases need to be set down because it ain't about us. It's about the people.
I want to touch on the reform that you speak of and that Doc speak of. Reform used to be a word when they sent black men to prison. We're going to send them to prison to reform them and bring them back out into society. Okay,
reform is to change.
Exactly. Okay, when you say reform now, how can you teach reform to veteran police officers that have spent the last 20 or 30 years beating the hell out of black men? How can you reform
those
type of men?
Reform those type of men.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying reform that man.
Right.
I'm saying reform the police department. Get his old decrepit ass out of the police department.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Get people off the block.
How are they going to get veterans out that's not ready to go yet?
Regardless if they're ready to go or not. The police,
Because these officers, they're not
the
voted
police
in.
in the department know who's bad and who's not. They know who whooping ass for no reason and who don't.
So Minneapolis Police Department that killed George Floyd, a terrible department.
Yes.
They knew that from downtown to City Hall.
Yes.
They knew it from the administration to
Yes.
upper government that this was a wicked, cruel police department. We got to get rid of them. Now they want to cut funding, but we'll be right back after this break. And we're going to get right back into it. So give us about, I say,
Felix, put that number up.
and we'll be right back.
Hey, I want some of y'all to call so we can get y'all because it's hard to keep.
Are you an artist, a writer of spoken word? Do you have content ready but need exposure? Get to know me. I'm Alicia, host of a new Facebook live stream show called The Flavor, where we promote local and international talent of all genres. Here are some rules and regulations to the videos that we'll be accepting. They must be radio ready, no cursing, no lewd language. You must send us contact information as well as a YouTube link to your video so we can extract it from there. Email us at 1061tv@gmail.com, and we thank you for your time. Are you an artist, a writer of spoken word?
Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rear view mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35 mile per hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? Do you have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement, we hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
Hello again to our many fans, family, and friends. Thank you for tuning back in to Talk Show Kings, one of the hottest shows in Atlanta. We're streaming live on YouTube, TV 1061, also on Facebook, and we're having big fun right here on TV 1061 in Douglasville, Georgia, home of Talk Show Kings.
Here
if
we
you're
are.
just tuning in, we've been on a real hot topic, and we just can't leave because the phone lines are ringing. Everybody's chiming in. Doc is waiting to answer some of your messages. The story of the evening is the young man that lost his life at the Wendy's on University Avenue in Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. 27-year-old, what's his name?
Rayshawn
Brooks.
Rashard Brooks.
Lost his life because he merely fell asleep in a Wendy's drive-through.
Lost his life because he was drunk and fought the police.
Absolutely, he was drunk and fought the police. Doc, who else chimed in?
Lauren Wilson, hey Lauren, says, I don't agree that it's right to fight a police officer. I don't agree with fighting a police officer if you're in the wrong. If you're in the right, then I don't think anybody should be able to just treat you any kind of way. Shamika White, I'm not disagreeing with the fact of not fighting the police, but if you're drunk and asleep and someone gets crazy with you, what do you expect? I feel you on that one. Lauren says, please note that Malcolm X had a change in his ideology before he died. What was that change, if you don't mind me asking, Lauren? Felix, if you didn't put the number up there, throw it up, please. Shamiki says, George Floyd's life was taken while he was calling for his mother. Shameful and embarrassing for the public to see him in his darkest hour, and he was innocent. So if I'm in the wrong, what do you think they are capable of doing? I'd rather die fighting. Wow, I feel you on that one, Shamiki. I feel you on that one. Lauren says the Masons, that I'm talking about the Masons. No, Lauren, I'm talking about when Jim Crow was started, and the I want to say it's called the Democratic Riders or something to that effect, but it's basically the Klan and other groups. They really got strong, and it was called a Democratic something, but back then they really got strong, and that's when they started this whole states' rights nonsense, and they was doing them Jim Crow laws, because once the federal troops left, then they could suppress black votes, they could suppress black people who were in office, they could hang us, kill us, and all this other kind of stuff, and we had no protection, we had no way to fight back when the troops left. So, yeah.
Well, we still have a way to fight back.
Absolutely.
Marshall in London says, please stop showing that fake cop, and unless it's Andy Griffith and Bernie, it is the only real cops. The only real cop.
Maybe.
You ain't right. That's funny, though.
Maybe.
Shamiki says, my first instinct is not to disrespect the cops. I'm sure all black people were taught to comply, then complain later, but we're not living to see later whether we complain or not. I feel you on that one.
That seems to be.
Just so you know, Shamiki, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but I said initially I wanted uprising and rioting and this, that, and the other. Now, I didn't want it to last in a period of time, because when you do uprise and you riot, then police will come and they'll start trying to hurt you and feel like they can do it legally. However, I wanted it because when we do peaceful protests, we get ignored.
I gotta ask
Jacqueline Keith Jones says, show a video justifying shooting a person in the back more than one time. I can't. I don't agree with shooting a person in the back more than one time.
Don't they tell you? It's the same
I would
thing.
prefer a bolo or something. I don't know if you know what a bolo is, but it's that little rope thing with the three balls on it. You can throw it and wrap somebody's legs up. I prefer something besides lethal force. But on that same note, I don't feel like just because you can outrun the cops, you should be able to get away.
I just
don't agree with
I don't
that.
know. It's a couple of things I look at it like you said. There's no justification for shooting somebody in the back, right?
None. Cowardly, if you
even
ask me.
if they have a law, if you own a gun, right? If a criminal breaks into your house, if they flee and turn around and run and you shoot them in the back, you get charged because they were no longer a threat. That's what it says by owning a gun,
That's
right?
exactly what it
now,
says.
if
I didn't know that. But you break into my house, you get what you
but
get.
if you turn your back and leave, and I'm exiting, you shoot me
If you come in my house uninvited,
I get it.
whatever happened,
Listen,
shit, I'm shooting in your back, front, side.
I get it.
Get your ass out of my house.
Listen, I get it. But I'm not sure if it's here in Georgia, but I know I think it's
It
in
is
Florida.
here in Georgia.
But
It is.
if a
Very much
person
so.
Don't
breaks
come
in
in
your
my
house
Right.
and they turn to flee and you shoot them in the back, they were no longer a threat because they were away from you. And you
That's bullshit.
I get it, but
It's
listen.
called the cat burglar law.
But listen, here's my thing. If that law applies to you entering my dwelling,
Right.
why can't it apply to the cops on the streets? You should not be able to shoot me in my back if I'm no
I'm running
longer there.
away
Now, if
from
I'm
you.
running
So-
away from you, but I'm shooting back.
Question.
That's a different story with deadly force.
Question.
Right.
You stabbed me and
Right.
dropped the knife, right? You're no longer armed.
Okay.
Police pull up right when you drop your knife. So they see you don't have any weapon. You take off running. You're faster than the cop.
Okay.
Should he just allow you to run off?
Not saying.
Yes, he should.
Yeah.
should?
Yes, he
Listen,
should.
this because this is what I'm saying.
I mean, because you never can determine
Yeah.
what type of crime it is. You know, if he drop a
that
knife
person
and
was
run
still a
off,
deadly threat.
that doesn't mean that he committed the crime. And he take off, he running, and you kill him with
because
deadly force.
he could have been
absolutely.
He
You
could
kill him
have
with
picked
deadly
up another
force.
so you don't.
Then you are dead
So
wrong.
think about it. If this law applies, the cat burglar law, as you call it, right?
Yeah.
If this applies to a person's personal dwelling, their house, right? Should it not apply to law enforcement on the streets? And another thing I was talking about, the reform thing. To reform something means to recreate,
Right.
reshape it, right? Restructure it or whatever, right? What good is a reform bill at this point, right? If you're gonna allow the law to continue to wear the same ugly face that it has.
Because
And I'm asking
that don't
and
make
I'm-
sense, and that's
but,
not.
but listen, I'm asking that because.
Well, let me answer when you get the chance.
Okay, but you said, remember, reform is to remake.
I
right?
heard you.
Okay, so if they're gonna reform something, should they not gut it from the inside out and clean it? Because you're not gonna remodel your house and only change one beam.
Bro, you made your point. Let me read. Can I rebut? If they're going to reform, then I think they should, again, like you said, they should go through the laws. First and foremost. First and foremost, we need a whole new, not everybody in Congress gone, but we need a new Congress that's
Supreme
younger,
Court judges
new
as well.
ideas. We need
Yes.
Democrats and Republicans that's more about people than money. Right now, we got so much greed in the White House, it's ridiculous. They'll let all of us die for a quarter.
Yeah.
But I think that we need a Congress that's more about people than money, and we need them to go through the laws that are already there, reshape what's there, and make the law about the people. We need to reshape our idea of police. Okay, police, if they are in your block, they should knock on every door and introduce themselves. I'm Officer so-and-so. I will be patrolling this area, blah, 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 so on and so forth. They should have some kind of interaction with the community so people know who they are and are more comfortable with them. So they're more comfortable with the people. But we don't have anything like that. That's what reform is to me. Coming up with new ideas for us to interact better. I'm not saying keep anybody. I'm not saying get rid of anybody. But police know who's out there busting heads wrong. They know.
They do.
That guy who was killed in 2016, the white guy, who sit and begged and pleaded, and the police had him crawling like a little dog and shot him anyway at the hotel.
With that assault rifle. Yes.
That is so wrong. It's ridiculous.
It was inhumane.
But the police knew,
And he got off on that.
Yes, but the police knew and had been reporting that man for forever. The police down in Alabama, there's a crime unit, right? The crime unit has put thousands of black people in jail by putting drugs and stuff on them, planting drugs on them. Police have been complaining about them for years. Other cops have been, the DA needs to go to jail because the police was complaining about them and telling him so and so is innocent. You cannot send that man to jail, and they still been. They have taken all these years away from these people.
And that's why I say.
So that's why we need to reform.
And that's why
because
I say
stuff like that needs to happen. The lady in Buffalo who stopped the police from choking that dude and they fired her. We need reform. She needs her job back.
I think that also, like Doc said, Congress, it has to start where I feel that a lot of blacks that are being quiet right now, you need to open your mouth and say something.
Yes.
Because social injustice has been going on for years, and it's going to go on for years to come. I think black people that has a mouth, that has the power to open their mouth in Congress and say, hey, my people needs help. We need help maintaining. We need help staying alive. And if you sit back and you don't say anything, then we're going to be in this oppressive state for the rest of our lives. I'll probably be dead and gone before I see anything, see a change happen, because our black congressmen and women are only saying so much.
But we also
there's a lot that has to be said. I know.
I don't think listen, but
I don't agree with him. If you black, if you white, if you Hispanic, if you Asian, if you have a mind, period. If you in Congress, if you somebody who's talking to Congress, if you have a mind and you have a heart, you have some kind of compassion, you have some kind of sense that right is right and wrong is wrong, then regardless of the hue, regardless of person, black, white, brown, whatever, if it's wrong, it should be called wrong, and we should protest it. We should put laws against it. Call in and talk to us, please.
I just think.
Give the number up.
It's on the screen.
I just think
770. I gotta look around. 770-485-7724.
But no, seriously, I just think that, like I said, reformation has to come from the top on down. You got, you got Supreme Court justices. You got people in prison who are really innocent, but the Supreme Court won't hear their cases, won't step over and say, hey, listen, no. Go and get this before they execute another innocent person, whether it be black or white. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is,
I agree wholeheartedly.
We have old Supreme Court that nobody should be in the Supreme Court for 40, 50, or 60 years.
You gotta die.
While I'm on the Supreme Court and Senate thing, I just want to nominate King Lundy for Senate.
If you go to the environments and you look, if you come to Atlanta and this is your first time in Atlanta, and you see how it's segregated, and you say, well, I want to live on the black side of town. They'll say, go to South Fulton. Well, I want to live on the white side of town. They'll say, go to North Fulton. Well, I'm a Hispanic. I want to live on the Hispanic part of town. Go to Doraville. And the reason why I say this is because people of color are going to stand up for people of color. White people are going to stand up for white people. Hispanic people are going to stand up for Hispanic people. So when I use the colloquialism, we need to stand up as black people in Congress and protect our own. And I understand what Doc's saying. Everybody needs to come together, but guess what? It's not going to happen because each race takes care of their own race. And we as black people are the only race that will not take care of ours because we're jealous and we're cold-hearted and we feel like if you coming up, then I want to get on your back to keep you down. Or if you coming up, and I just refuse to believe that if we do not come together, our society, our race is going to continue to be at a standstill. And on that note, we will be right back. You are tuned in to Talk Show Kings, one of the hottest shows this side of this north, south, and east. And if you need a shot, a phlebotomist laboratory, you need a stick, waste no time. Call Katrina Spix at 404-734.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom Inc., reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village.
All right. We are live and we are back, and we are glad you tuned back in with us. Well, Freedom for Families, Wealth and Mindset, 678-783-6380. If you got that freedom of mindset and you're thinking wealth, then call the number. Get all the advice that you need. And by the way, tell them Talk Show King sent you. If you're just tuning in, you're tuning in to a wonderful show. We got a hot, dynamic topic. It's the protest that happened over the weekend. If you've been watching the news, you saw that the Wendy's on University Avenue was burned down. You saw that the protesters was very upset over the killing on Friday night. Rashard Brooks, 27-year-old black man, father of four, lost his life in a senseless manner. This is a young man that fell asleep at the drive-through window, was awakened by APD, and he lost his life. But guess what? Because he's lost his life, Erica Shields, the chief of police for Atlanta Police Department, she resigned. Mayor Bottoms gave the announcement on yesterday, and she accepted her resignation letter. And Doc, I want to ask you, I want to ask King Mel, you know, by her resigning, does that increase or does it decrease the volume of Atlanta Police Department, and where does the department go from there? They have an interim chief.
They're going to have to see what the interim chief's direction is, and when the new chief comes in, then he's going to have to set up because it may be a female. So
no, it's a male. He's an interim.
No, not the interim. When the new chief comes in, then they're going to have to set a precedent. However, before we went to break, you made a comment, and I disagree wholeheartedly.
Okay, absolutely. That's what we're
do you want to go on this first?
Which one?
Before I disagree on the police chief.
Oh, I mean, get your disagreement out. Right?
Okay, you were saying that the communities need to represent. I'm not disagreeing with that aspect. However, if you watch the riots, if you watch television, period, people in Thailand, people in Asia, Africa, in England, the crowds of protesters have been huge. They were bigger than the crowd in the 60s. And it has been mixed. It has been everybody out there because right is right and wrong is wrong.
I absolutely agree with you.
So people who are saying, you know, hey, well, in my opinion, you can't just say, well, black people need to stick together. Yes, we need to stick together, but people, the United States, people need to stick together. We have lost the idea that the government works for us, not the other, no cursing, the other way around. We do not work for the government works for us. If we put they behind in office and they aren't doing what they're supposed to, we need to get them out of office. Point blank and period. How can Mitch McConnell stay in office with that nonsense? I'm finna, go ahead, bro. You know I get long-winded because I'm really feeling this.
We were speaking of the term of the Reformation. And speaking of that right there, with you and the police chief resigning, listen, man, I can understand her resigning. And not because she's not trying to be for change or whatever, but within the last 3 weeks, right? Under her watch, there's been some officers fired from tasing the college students to this shooting right now, right? That's a lot of stress. But whoever the interim chief is, and whoever the incumbent chief's gonna be whenever everything's said and done, I would certainly hope, man, that they take a page out of everything that's going on, and they make sure that the officers listen. It's just like us. When I was growing up, and I got in trouble, my dad used to be so patient, but when his top boiled over from the nonsense I did, he handled business. Same thing needs to be with the officers, man. Listen, if you're getting a bunch of complaints it needs to get looked into. And once you reach a certain number of complaints, you don't need to be on the streets. You don't need to be working the inside of the jail where you can be mad and mistreat the inmates.
Right.
Everything has to change.
But let me ask you this right here, Mel, and I'm asking this right here too, Doc. This goes back to a perpetuated force that has been going on for years of police brutality against young black men.
Yes.
It's been going on because they have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
It's been going on
because, and because they have gotten away with it for so long, that's just like an abuser. Okay, if an abuser is abusive to his wife, first time he puts his hands on his wife, okay, he gets away with it. Then he does it again, he gets away with it. So now he feels like, well, I can keep putting my hand on it and I'll keep getting away with it. Same thing that I'm trying to prove a point here. If these officers have been beating black men and killing black men for so long and keep getting away with it, then the cycle only perpetuated itself. So that's all they know how to do now. So how do we get them away from that? And I don't think Erica Shields was in the power to get them, even the police chief before her. Atlanta has always had a problem with their police officers being brutal. I mean, you remember, Doc, in 2014, you know, I mean, Doc and I went through it when we was living here when they had the Red Dog unit out. And these were officers that they didn't ask questions. They beat you down and then ask questions.
Overton Claiborne says, hey fellas, wonderful show. Thank you, Overton. Shamiki says, when we need officers on the street that understand the law, want to understand the law, and understand they only enforce the law. Right now, they don't know their role. They are trying to play judge and jury and sentencing people to death. I agree wholeheartedly. Overton says, no Roger, no rerun, no rent. I have no idea what you mean by that. Hey, Marty, thank you for watching. Shamika White says, voting, true, but how can you when there are only so many barriers, especially Georgia? It's discouraging, so those who are not determined weed themselves out of the voting mix. Now, I agree with you, Shamika, but I still think voting is the thing. I think that more people we need to stop that mindset of I don't get into politics. Everybody needs to be into politics.
Okay, so the voting thing, right? I agree with you. I agree with it when you say we got to vote, right?
Absolutely.
Here's the thing. If we're going to be able to vote for people to vote them in, right? We need to vote for people who have that no-nonsense attitude, these no-nonsense policies. And what I mean by that is this here. All right. Let's just say you were the police chief, right? You come in, you're this, that, and the other, right? You got an officer who done been complained about 5 times in the last 3 months, right? You sending them out to neighborhoods. Your job as the chief is to investigate that call and let that person know, listen, you don't have another complaint. If there's one more complaint, because that's the thing.
That's the reform.
But again, but the thing is, like I said, the policies have to change. They need to be good. So if you're doing this, however, with that being said, right? If we do get this reform, after that, where we go from there? It starts locally, but can we get it to go to the highest branches?
Well, that's what Congress is federal. Congress is not just local. The thing about it is, anytime you do a process, then you get a process in place. You execute the process. You review how it went, and you make changes. That's a constant. The only thing constant is change. So we get the process down. We see how it goes. If so-and-so not working a certain way, then we tweak it. And then we gotta just keep doing that everywhere.
We thought that after all the publicity of the George Floyd murder, we saw it on the news. As black people, we were beginning to feel confident and good that, hey, a change is about to come. And then Friday happened.
And I know
it's all over again, you know, because that's what we thought. Like, hey, we setting up, a change is gonna come, and guess what happened? Right when we thought the change was taking place, Rayshard Brooks lost his life, a black man in a senseless killing. So
I can only.
Now we're right back where we started.
I can only speak for
with
Doc.
Ahmaud Arbery.
I didn't think that a change was going to come immediately.
A lot of people did.
I expected this. I expected it because first of all, the people in power, the people who are doing this nonsense, they're going to act to let you know that, hey, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, but we're going to keep whooping your ass. I don't care what you do. That's why we need to keep it up. Yeah. We don't need to let the whole thing die out. We need to keep it up.
So we can keep protesting.
Hey, exactly.
You cannot let this
exactly.
You cannot let this happen
but we
like
need to
we
keep
did
voting.
with the whole Gucci. Remember the Gucci thing when they were like with the racial slur and all the clothing or whatever.
Right.
And we did that all of what? Maybe a month and a half, and then
some of us didn't do it at all.
You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, you did that, but then you just let it die like it was nothing. Now you're right back to blowing your money with these same people who don't give a damn about you. It's the same thing. Keep it up. I'm not saying you got to burn everything to the ground. I'm not saying that. Again, I'm quite sure Wendy's has enough money, or whoever owns that Wendy's, if it's a franchise, has enough money, they're insured. But what I'm saying is, you got to keep turning up. You got to keep voting. You got to keep pursuing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like they don't want to take their foots off of our necks, don't take your foot off of their necks. And I know that's probably bad.
That's my whole thing with we got to remember that the government works for us, not the other way around.
Right.
Too long, we have put people in office and let them stay up there regardless of what they do. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I don't care who you are. It's not about you. It's about the policies you bring. If you're bringing a policy that supports me and my community, then you got my vote. If you don't, then you don't. I don't give a damn about you. I don't care about you saying, I'm a Democrat, so now vote for me. You ain't black if you don't vote Democrat. You kiss my, you cannot say that to me. You're a Republican, so you say, well, if you want some money, then you're going to vote. No, I ain't trying to hear that nonsense. What are your policies? What are you bringing to the table? Right. Shamiki says, man, everyone has no nonsense policies until they get in office and their integrity has a price on it. Woo! Say it again. Yeah. Meaning they can be bought. We need someone in office that's been broke, don't mind going back because they going to stand on their principles, morals, and values and don't exist. Well, preaching girl, say that, because we got to hold their feet to the fire. When we put them in office, we got to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do.
And
if they don't,
get them out.
Their ass out of office.
That's what we need to do. You need to be able to get them out
every 2 years.
Every 2 years. Listen, no. Forget all that. It means if they're not doing their job, we shouldn't have to stand and wait for 2 years.
Oh, you ain't got no choice on that.
That's how long.
I mean, come on, like
a lot of people are voting, and if you went to the same person that voted and you asked them who did you vote for and what position did you vote for, they couldn't even tell you.
You can't.
But I will say this. I will say this to the protesters: friendly protest is good. I pray and I hope that you don't have to use the horrific tactics that you're using. And the thing about it, I want to say to the University Avenue community, Price Street community, it is not your fault. The people that are coming to these communities are setting fires to these communities. They don't live there. They probably live in the north or down south in the east or the west. The majority of the people that burned down Wendy's last night do not live anywhere around that community. So Price Street, pray, hold your head up. It's not your fault. It's something that we're going through, and if God put it for you, He'll bring you through it.
They saying that they keep blaming Antifa, but the police, the FBI has not been able to trace Antifa to it. I think it's more than Antifa. I think it's Antifa, the KKK, the alt-right, and everybody else, because they know that if they do enough damage, then the police are going to come in, then the military is going to come in. They know that if they do enough damage, then African-American lives will be in danger. Therefore, a peaceful protest can turn violent through nobody in that community. So I'm agreeing with him on that.
It can, but like
Cuz, do your thing. I love you, bro. Jeffrey Strong said that. Hey, Jerry, thank you for watching. Jerry up in New York, we appreciate you.
It's definitely some behind the scenes tactics going on. You know what I mean? But just like they're trying to label Black Lives Matters, the group, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to label us as almost as if we're damn near terrorists, right? Because we want to stand up for something that we want better for our people, and it doesn't mean that we hate white people or we are against racists, but we don't hate white people. You know what I'm saying?
That 75-year-old man that was knocked down, white guy, Black Lives Matter is behind him.
Yeah, we should have
Black Lives Matter saying that's wrong.
And that's wrong. Again,
just because the group is called Black Lives Matter don't mean it's only
it's not all about Black lives.
Right being right and wrong being wrong.
Exactly. And that same thing that happened with that 75-year-old man, where the rest of the 57 people resigned because they stood behind the office and thought they was right. You know what I'm saying? But now if you go up and push their 75-year-old grandfather down, then you dead wrong. They gonna want to kill you or whatever and whatnot.
That man, somebody dropped a helmet, a police helmet. The man picked it up and was trying to give it to the police. They knocked that man down and his head hit the ground.
Exactly.
Okay, he was in the ICU behind that.
They tried to say he fell down harder than he was pushed. And I'm like, he fell down harder than he was pushed.
Some jackass ain't gonna call Trump name, but some jackass gonna say he might have been
don't call the great pumpkin name. Don't call the great pumpkin name.
He might have been Antifa and fake that. So he fake going down to the ground, busting his head on the concrete with blood coming out his ear.
So that's
that man's a hell of an actor. He should get like an Oscar and everything else.
Because ain't no way blood. I've never seen somebody with blood pour from their ear on a live video, and it was fake.
Well, it was the makeup artist in the back. Antifa's smart. Antifa, they smart like that. They knew that man was gonna go up there try to give him this helmet and they gonna knock him down.
They did that. They set it up.
Yes.
Let them push you backwards and you hit your head and bleed out your ear.
And that like
exactly. That's right. He didn't get up. No, they had to take him out.
Staying out and get the good stuff. Get the good stuff.
I mean, this guy had white hair.
No, he didn't.
Did you say
that was makeup? No.
Did you see him walk?
No, I didn't.
I mean, he walked like
he stood up straighter than Donald Trump.
He walked like
didn't they have a video where he was trying to lift a cup of water, but he was trembling and he had to push it up with his hand. Now, y'all just came out and said this man had a clean bill of health.
Right.
I ain't gonna call Nancy Pelosi name either, but somebody said he was obese, meaning extremely overweight. He was extremely ignorant. And something else. I don't remember the third thing she said about it, but I ain't gonna say her name because I don't want to, I ain't trying to.
Apparently he got bad eyesight because the rings around his eyes, he can't tell where his tan ain't full.
There's a video about him where he just wonders. Like he'll step off of Air Force One and the podium's over there and he'll start walking that way and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a piece of work. I mean,
what can we say to the protesters? Because we know every weekend
stay strong.
You are going to protest, and we will say this to you. If you believe in your heart for whatever you believe in, then always stand up for it. And they say that whatever you stand up for, you will be able to die for the cause. Don't die for a cause that you don't know anything about. If you know what you're almost going to get killed for anyway, then make a ramification of this is what I believe in my heart. I want to say thanks to the people that I interviewed this morning over at the Wendy's University. It was a scene, I tell you that, it was out of the ordinary. It was a new normal for a lot of people waking up this morning. And I tell you what, Doc, it was almost like Freaknik, over there.
What you remember about Freaknik?
I don't know how to make the protest about Freaknik.
I'm
messing with you. I agree with you. To all the protesters out there, man, listen.
Hey, stay strong.
Yeah, man, listen. Stay strong, stay safe. Yeah, Black lives do matter.
Absolutely.
All lives matter, but right now we talking about us. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and all I'm telling you is this here. Look, you got your foot on their backs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that to be, I know it's a crazy pun to use this time, but just to show us they've had their foot on our necks for a very long time. If you want to change, man, listen, keep applying the pressure. I'm not saying you got to be violent, because I know y'all not being violent. There's some people out there just want to be seen. And for y'all who just want to be seen or say I was there, stay y'all black asses home.
Absolutely.
We don't need this. We need real adults out there, real people who want real change for a generation to come.
And when he say black ass, he mean anybody. Because I've seen several people throw bricks and chairs and stuff through windows who weren't African American, and who weren't African and who weren't black in any stretch of the form of imagination. KKK have terrorized black people for years, and the mother of Emmett Till left here never knowing what happened to her son and seeing justice. A lot of people are talking about innocent people dying during looting, forgetting it started behind an innocent black man being killed, and they don't realize innocent people die during war, every war. I agree with you on that one. Shamiki, a big thing that gets under my skin is when people get on television talking about the FBI or the president or somebody gets on air and they talking about how they need to be stern, inviting the military and stop the agitators. Well, the agitators are the police, because none of this would have started if they weren't killing us for no apparent reason. And that's the biggest thing people seem to leave out. It's like nobody's saying that criminals can't be prosecuted by the law.
Right.
But we're saying even if a person commits a crime, the police are not judge, jury, and executioner.
Exactly.
Your job is to get them and detain them until they get their day in court. It's not for you to go out and try to kill somebody. And it's wrong, especially... And we all know in the black community that you don't have to do anything. Being black, you can get assaulted for being black in a 45. And although it sounds funny, it's the truth. You can go out and the police feels disrespected by something you said. You haven't broken any laws. You just didn't want to put up with that bullshit they was talking that. You didn't want to put up with whatever they were saying to you at the time, and you didn't sign up for the interview. So if you're not breaking a law, you want to be left alone.
Yeah.
But you can anger a police, and they feel like because they're angry, now they have a badge, they can assault you. That's not right, and that's not true.
And on that note, we want you to be safe. It always comes to this time of the evening, on Sunday evening, when we have to end the show. We want to thank you for being a participant of this show. We want to thank you for supporting this show. The many of you all that support us, continue to support us. And you can support us at Cash App TV 1061. We appreciate it so much, and we thank you, our many family and friends, Facebook watchers, YouTube watchers, and Channel TV 1061 out in Douglasville, Georgia. I was your host for the evening. My name is King Lundy, and I'm going to let the host close it out, and we're going to say our further ado's. Go ahead, King Mel.
Hey man, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, making this another great show. As always, much love and respect to the fellas over here, the Kings. Thank you guys for having me. Just want to give a shout out to my kids, my friends and family that are watching. You know what I mean? My good friend, Miss Anderson, how you doing? And I just want to tell you guys again, man, listen, stay safe out here, and we got to have each other's backs, man. I love y'all, and I want to see change just like everybody else. It got to happen.
I don't know if we gave a shout out, but I want to make sure we give a shout out to Felix Washington in the back, our executive producer. Want to give a shout out to Shantae Barksdale, our social media guru, and give a shout out to Marcus Gibbons, our technical director. I'm King Doc, your boy from Atlanta, Georgia, retired Air Force. I want to give a shout out to all my military brethren and sisters. I do it all the time because I have so much respect and love for you guys, and I appreciate it. Being in the military, then I understand the dynamics of all races coming together to achieve a certain goal, and this is a goal that we need to achieve. We need to achieve a civil dynamic to where we're all living together and everybody's basically respecting everybody's right to be. That's what America was based on. America is based on everybody has the right to exist and to prosper as much as they can, you know, as much as they can through their means. Nobody should be held back because of anything except their inability to perform. So I'm gonna give a shout out to my mother, who I got all of my silly from, Miss Regina Janet Schofield, my father, who I got my sense of responsibility, my sense of right and wrong, that toxic masculinity that he gave me. I want to give a shout out to Kenneth A. Moore Sr. I want to give a shout out to my sister, my niece, nephews, all of my family. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate you. Military suicide is going up, so please make sure you watch your battle buddy, because you guys are important. And please don't go out here and hurt nobody because of something that, you know, an unlawful order. We know that the military is not supposed to attack civilians on American soil unless there's some kind of mutiny where they're trying to overthrow the government. Other than that, we're not supposed to. So please don't follow unlawful orders and hurt somebody.
Absolutely. Shouts out to Marcy Lundy. Thank you for tuning in tonight. She's representing those 24 karat divas. I love you. Take care. To my mother, Geneva Lundy, and to my beautiful wife, Natalia, I love you so much. See you in a few. And to all our many fans, we thank you so very much. Now, keep in mind that next week, you know, we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back the week after that. So stay tuned. We got more exciting shows coming at your way. We're getting through this pandemic, but we're getting through it slowly. The governor is easing up, and we're going to ease up to right as the law. as safe as that we can. But keep in mind, you are tuned in to the best show this side of the Tennessee River. And we are the Talk Show Kings. We're coming and we're having big fun right here
on TV 1061.
And we're out.
Baby girl, I love you.
Yes, sir.
What's up, family? Welcome to another edition of Talk Show Kings. Oh, I'm not king at all.
Hold on, D. Joe Biden?
D. Joe Biden.
Hey, still happy Heavenly Mother's Day. Always gonna be mom, and I'm just glad to be back with you fellas, man, and with the audience.
Put your hands on that, man.
Listen, thing is cake.
Listen.
Only thing I can't do is my heart start beating and I can't do
TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.